If you give a community help with no exit plan, you haven't solved a problem. You've just created a more organized way to manage it. Emergency relief was meant to be a temporary bridge. It was never supposed to become a permanent economic model. What's up, everyone? I'm Joshua T. Berglan, the world's mayor, and this is the World's Mayor Experience, episode 7 from this series, From Aid to Architecture, Building Systems that Let Africa Keep Its Value. Africa is not an empty container waiting for the world to fill it. Africa is a vault of value that keeps getting unlocked from the outside. We see hardship and immediately ask, what do they need? That is only half the question. The real question is, what is already here? The talent is here. The intelligence is here. The land, the minerals, the food, the culture, the creativity, it's all here. Africa doesn't lack value. The problem is that the value leaves before the people who created it can build power from it. We aren't standing outside this system looking in. If you consume chocolate, wear clothes, use a smartphone, or drive a car, you are part of the exact same supply chain as the farmer in West Africa or the miner in Congo. Instead of asking, how do we save them? We need to ask, who controls the systems we are all participating in? Who processes? Who brands? Who sets the price? Who owns the platform? And who keeps the money? Now we are talking about architecture. For those new to my work, I've written 11 books. Here in Cameroon, I give one of them away for free, Media Company in a Box. Why? Because I've spent over a decade teaching one principle. Your story, your voice, and your intellectual property have value. Technology now allows ordinary people to build media systems that once required massive corporations. Before I could teach people to own their story, I had to own mine. My first book, The Devil Inside Me, hit #1 in 4 countries. I rewrote it version 2 right here in Cameroon. Not because the facts changed, everything in it is true, but because I changed. I came to Cameroon expecting to teach. I didn't expect how often I would share my own journey with young people and builders rebuilding their lives. Your darkest chapter does not have to become your identity. It can become your architecture. My pain became testimony. The testimony became media. The media became books. The books became tools. The tools became systems I could give away. That is the difference between saying, I want to save you, and saying, I want to build something with you that you will eventually own. Look at how the world evaluates value. A local farmer grows cocoa. The cocoa gets exported raw. Someone else processes it. Someone else manufactures chocolate. Someone else packages, brands, and retails it. At every single stage downstream, the value multiplies. Then we look back at the farmer who birthed the raw material and label that person poor. The creator of the value gets labeled poor, while everyone downstream gets wealthy off of what they produced. The farmer isn't poor. The architecture around the farmer is broken. Imagine a bucket with a massive hole in the bottom. You can pour in all the aid, the grants, the donations, and the conference promises you want. If nobody fixes the hole, the bucket never stays full. Stop celebrating how much water was poured in. Ask where the water goes. Aid asks, look how much we gave. Architecture asks, what remained after we left? Let's get tactical. What is the difference between a project and architecture? When it comes to equipment, a project hands out a tractor. Architecture asks, who owns it, maintains it, and stocks the replacement parts? With agriculture, a project gives away imported seeds. Architecture asks, can these seeds be saved? And how does this impact long term soil health? In the marketplace, a project builds a temporary trade fair. Architecture asks, who owns the digital platform, the customer data, and the algorithms? And with media, a project films a vulnerable community for a fundraiser. Architecture asks, who owns the copyright? And how does the community monetize their own story? Production alone is not power. You can work yourself to exhaustion and remain economically fragile. Production becomes power only when it connects directly to processing, branding, logistics, ownership, and media control. When the only profitable story about a people is their pain, their suffering becomes content, and trauma becomes a fundraising product. Africa does not need more poverty branding. Africa needs value documentation. Media doesn't just change perception, media changes economics. When people see helplessness, they send charity. When people see quality, they do commerce. When investors see chaos, they see risk. When investors see documented systems and transparency, they see opportunity. When a young person sees farming portrayed only as backbreaking poverty, they run. When they see agriculture linked to technology, processing, media, and export ownership, they see a career. If we are serious about moving from aid to architecture, here are 7 non negotiable rules. 1. Ownership. The people closest to the ground must own meaningful equity in the system, not just participate as labor. 2. Transparency. If a local producer cannot understand the contract they are signing, that contract is exploitation, not empowerment. 3. Local capacity. If the operation collapses when the outside expert flies home, you built dependency, not capacity. 4. Market access. Never push people to scale production without building direct buyer pipelines first. Unsold yield is waste. 5. Documentation. Document the agreements, the processes, the data, and the IP. What is undocumented can be easily stolen or erased. 6. Dignity. People are partners, builders, and creators, never props for a photo op. 7. Circulation. Value generated in a community must circulate through local drivers, local processors, local creators, and local banks before it leaves. To humanitarian organizations and NGOs, keep responding to crisis, but buy locally, train locally, and build an exit plan. Your ultimate victory should be making your intervention unnecessary. To churches, feed the hungry, yes, but help them process, store, package, and distribute that food so they control the supply chain. To investors, stop confusing weak bargaining power with weak value. A desperate producer accepting an unfair price doesn't mean the product is worthless. It means the system is coercive. To governments, stop measuring progress by how much foreign aid arrives. Measure progress by how much processing and intellectual property remain inside your borders. To media creators, stop chasing poverty porn for easy clicks. Document the hidden builders, the local processors, and the tech innovators. Make invisible value visible. To the diaspora, bring your capital, networks, and tech back home, but listen first. Build with local communities, not over them. To every community across Cameroon and Africa, you are not waiting for value to arrive. You are already standing on it. Document it, organize it, process it, brand it, own the narrative, own the data, and keep the revenue circulating. Needing initial capital doesn't mean you lack intelligence or dignity. Relief saves lives today. Respect protects dignity. Ownership builds power. Architecture creates the future. Stop asking only, what can we give? Start asking, what can the people own? Never allow emergency relief to become the ceiling of what human beings are permitted to become. Don't just build a temporary bridge that leads nowhere. Build the road, build the market, build the processing, build the media. Above everything else, build what remains. I'm Joshua T. Berglan, the world's mayor. God bless Cameroon, God bless Africa, and God bless the builders laying down the architecture of freedom. We will see you next episode.